Every level of wealth in comics explained. Level 1, broke. Spider-Man. If poverty had a mascot in comics, it'd wear red and blue spandex. Peter Parker is the blueprint for the broke superhero, an orphan raised by Aunt May in Queens who spends more time worrying about rent than radioactive villains. Every month, it's the same balancing act. Stop a robbery, miss class, lose his job. His paychecks come from snapping photos for the Daily Bugle, where J. Jonah Jameson lowballs him for pictures of his own heroics. One issue, he's selling lab notes for lunch money. Another, he's pawning his camera after Doc Ock trashes it. His apartment walls are as thin as his wallet, and every broken web shooter or ripped suit means another bill he can't cover. His science genius brain could easily make him rich, yet his moral compass keeps him in the same cramped space, choosing responsibility over profit. Luke Cage. Carl Lucas spent years behind bars for a crime he didn't commit, volunteered for an experiment that gave him unbreakable skin, and walked out determined to survive the honest way. Money was a luxury, so he turned heroism into a hustle. Heroes for Hire was less a brand than a lifeline. Cage charged by the job, protecting shop owners, recovering stolen goods, and collecting envelopes that barely covered rent on his brownstone. Even when he teamed up with Iron Fist, the checks were sporadic, and the collateral damage often outweighed the profit. Still, he refused handouts from the Avengers or government contracts. The streets that raised him kept him grounded, his business cards smudged, his fridge half empty. He is broke from principle. Every dented door and cracked pavement in Harlem is proof that he works where the money isn't. Jessica Jones. After quitting the superhero life, she opened Alias Investigations, a one-woman detective agency that rarely sees cash up front. Clients vanish, cases crumble, and she keeps her office lights on through stubbornness alone. The desk is buried in takeout boxes, her answering machine filled with collection calls. When jobs do pay, she spends half of it replacing a window someone threw her through. Her world isn't glossy capes or billionaire labs. It's rain-soaked streets, flickering neon, and a bottle of whiskey doubling as stress therapy. She's the definition of survival mode. One foot in trauma, the other on a cigarette butt outside her office door. Jessica never pretends she's in it for justice or fame. She's in it because it's all she can do. That's what makes her story sting. Her life's a loop of survival without reward, grit without glamour. Level 2, working class. Daredevil. Matt Murdock's life has always hovered between the courtroom and the gutter. By day, he's a defense attorney in Hell's Kitchen, taking on clients who can't afford anyone else. By night, he's Daredevil, bleeding through alleys that the law refuses to protect. His finances follow the same pattern as his double life, steady when he's with a firm, shaky when he's independent. He's had moments of security, like when Nelson and Murdock actually paid the bills. But every case he takes is a gamble between justice and a paycheck. His modest apartment doubles as a recovery room after nightly patrols. And when he's not in the courtroom, he's patching up bruises under the glow of a cheap lamp. His moral compass is unshakable, and that often means taking pro bono cases that guarantee a loss in income. He could have joined corporate law or gone private and rich, yet he stays in the neighborhood that raised him, a lawyer by title, a martyr by choice. The money's never enough, but his purpose never needed it. The Thing. Ben Grimm might live in the Baxter Building, but he's still the most blue-collar man in the Marvel universe. A kid from Yancey Street turned test pilot, Ben never cared for suits, stocks, or status. His paycheck technically comes from Fantastic Four Incorporated, but he's the guy who'd rather spend it fixing cars than buying yachts. Reed Richards might own the patents, but Ben's the muscle who keeps things grounded. Every time the team saves the planet, Reed gets the science award, Johnny gets the press, and Ben gets the repair bill. He jokes about being underpaid, but there's truth in it. The universe's strongest bricklayer stuck living on a hero's stipend. The fans love him because he still talks like a dock worker, still eats like one, still carries the humor of a man who knows what a hard day feels like. Even surrounded by genius and glory, Ben Grimm remains working class at heart, a hero who treats saving the world like another day on the job site. Barbara Gordon. As Gotham's former librarian turned vigilante tech mastermind, she's the rare hero who survives on a civil servant's salary while secretly running the entire city's information grid. Whether as Batgirl or Oracle, she's been at the center of Gotham's chaos, coordinating missions and managing intel from a modest apartment filled with screens and police scanners. Her income is stable but modest, coming from academic or IT work that pays decently but never extravagantly. After being paralyzed by the Joker, Barbara rebuilt her life through knowledge, building networks, mentoring younger heroes, and running operations that no billionaire could ever match. She doesn't rely on Bruce Wayne's funding or government contracts. She sustains herself through sheer intelligence and persistence. Every byte of data she controls comes from sleepless nights and relentless focus. Level 3, comfortable. Superman. Clark Kent lives the kind of life that would look ordinary if he weren't secretly holding up the planet. A job at the Daily Planet keeps him grounded, a steady reporter's salary, a rent-controlled apartment in Metropolis, and a desk with his name on it. The money's consistent, never flashy. His days are measured in deadlines and interviews, the quiet normalcy of a man who could tear through skyscrapers but chooses to write about them instead. His wealth is stability, steady paychecks, simple meals, and enough to live decently without drawing attention. In every era, he represents the dignity of middle-class work. Whether living with Lois or quietly paying off a modest mortgage, he's never been driven by profit. His financial comfort mirrors his moral one, a life built on routine, honesty, and the satisfaction of knowing that the job, no matter how small, means something. The Flash. As a forensic scientist for the Central City Police Department, his life runs on structure and precision. The job pays well enough for a house, groceries, and the occasional gadget in his lab, but no luxury cars or corporate jets. He spends more on crime scene supplies than leisure. Most of his nights end in the lab, staring at slides and chemical traces while the rest of the city sleeps. That paycheck funds both a career and a calling. Scientist by day, hero by instinct. When he's not Barry, he's the Flash, cleaning up the same streets his day job investigates. His life is balanced, stable, responsible, and comfortable in the way most heroes can only dream of. Even with all that speed, he never outruns the feeling that being grounded is a kind of wealth too. Green Lantern. As a test pilot for Ferris Aircraft, he earns a solid income, danger pay included, and lives like a man who's seen the edge of space and still clocks into work Monday morning. His apartment's modern but never extravagant, the kind of place that says, I could leave Earth any minute. His financial footing is solid, yet he spends like a thrill seeker, fast cars, occasional finds, and repairs on whatever he's wrecked that week. His income matches his appetite for risk. Between contracts and missions, he always finds a way to stay afloat, the definition of comfortable chaos. He doesn't hoard, invest, or plan decades ahead. For him, wealth is having enough to chase the next horizon, to live without asking permission. In a universe full of billionaires and monarchs, Hal Jordan represents a rare kind of balance, the working professional who happens to hold the most powerful weapon in the galaxy. Level 4. Affluent. Iron Fist. He inherited an empire. His parents built Rand Enterprises into a global corporation worth billions, and when they vanished in the mountains of Tibet, the fortune was frozen until Danny returned years later. By then, he'd trained in Kunlun, mastered his chi, and gained the power of the Iron Fist. Reclaiming his company made him one of New York's wealthiest young CEOs, though he never acted like it. His boardrooms are often empty because he'd rather be barefoot in a dojo than wearing cufflinks at a shareholder meeting. He uses his inheritance like a weapon, funding hospitals, rebuilding neighborhoods, and paying bail for the same people he protects. The money keeps flowing, but he spends it as fast as it arrives. Behind the meditation and mysticism is a man who understands what wealth can do when it serves people instead of pride. He may walk among monks, but his signature is on skyscrapers. Mr. Fantastic. Reed Richards turned brainpower into a business plan. The patents alone from Fantastic Four Incorporated would keep him rich for centuries. Unstable molecules, teleportation tech, interdimensional energy systems, and government contracts that rival NASA's budget. The Baxter Building is a fortress of innovation, powered by Reed's own creations. Every gadget in that tower has a price tag with more zeros than a Stark invoice, yet his wealth rarely looks glamorous. He wears lab coats, not suits. His currency is curiosity. When funds run low, one invention fixes the problem overnight. His affluence sits on a foundation of discovery, not greed. The Fantastic Four's travels to space, the negative zone, and beyond are all self-funded because he made sure science pays for itself. Even Tony Stark admits that if Reed cared about profit, he'd own half the planet. Instead, his wealth is a side effect of genius, unintentional, unstoppable, and quietly limitless. Professor X. He was born into money but used it like a mission statement. The Xavier family estate stretched across acres of Westchester, New York, complete with vineyards, libraries, and laboratories long before mutants entered the picture. When Charles inherited it, he transformed the mansion into the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters, a sanctuary for mutant children who had nowhere else to go. The cost of maintaining that dream is staggering. A private jet, a staff of teachers, medical equipment, and technology powerful enough to track every mutant on Earth. Every cent of it comes from his family fortune and his own strategic investments in biotech and education. He doesn't flaunt wealth. He hides it beneath purpose. The school's sleek halls, Cerebro's glowing chamber, and the Blackbird's engines all run on his inheritance. His affluence is measured in generations of mutants who grew up safe under his roof. Level 5. Wealthy. Green Arrow. He was born into privilege and spent most of his youth trying to outrun it. Queen Industries made him one of the richest men in Star City, a business empire built on shipping, defense, and energy. His early life was a carousel of parties, luxury yachts, and expensive mistakes. That ended when he was stranded on a deserted island and forced to learn survival the hard way. When he came home, the playboy was gone, replaced by a man who saw wealth as a weapon to fix a broken city. Oliver funds hospitals, homeless shelters, and public housing projects, yet still bankrolls his vigilante operations. His arrows may be handmade, but his gadgets, safe houses, and tech all come from the Queen fortune. He wears green leather and patrols alleys, but his bank account could buy half the skyline. Money stopped being a comfort and became a responsibility. In a world full of capes and crowns, he uses his billions like a blunt instrument against corruption. Angel, Warren Worthington. He never had to chase a paycheck. The Worthington Industries logo is stamped across hospitals, research facilities, and airfields, an empire he inherited before he ever donned wings. He's the embodiment of old money, born into a world of privilege and prep schools, where wealth came as naturally as flight. When his mutation appeared, his life twisted from luxury to tragedy. The social circles that once adored him turned their backs, forcing him to find belonging among the X-Men. His wealth never vanished, though. It funded missions, aircraft, and mutant relief efforts. He rarely brags about it, but his fortune keeps Xavier's dream alive as much as Charles's estate. Over time, his wings became more than symbols of beauty. They were reminders of the burden that comes with being born above others. His riches aren't the flashy type. They're the quiet kind that sustain teams, heal wounds, and pay for second chances. Emma Frost. Before she joined the X-Men, she built Frost International, a corporate giant in tech, biotech, and communications. Every deal she struck made headlines, and every rival who underestimated her regretted it. She moves through boardrooms like a queen, through marble halls, diamonds on her fingers, eyes sharp enough to bankrupt you with a stare. Her fortune is constructed, calculated, and fiercely protected. When she became a mutant leader, her wealth shifted into something more strategic. She bought properties for safe houses, financed schools, and used her resources to influence governments quietly. Frost's luxury is both armor and statement. Her diamond skin mirrors her business sense, unbreakable and polished under pressure. Even among billionaires, Emma stands apart because her fortune came from intellect, not legacy. Level 6, Elite. Dr. Doom. Victor Von Doom's wealth begins and ends with absolute power. As the ruler of Latveria, he doesn't answer to investors, shareholders, or oversight committees. He is the economy. Every bridge, factory, and government account in that Eastern European nation belongs to him. His royal treasury runs on exports of advanced technology that outpaces even Stark Industries, and his factories are staffed by citizens who worship him as both monarch and savior. His capital city gleams with marble and steel, guarded by robotic sentinels of his own design. The palace alone is worth more than most countries' GDPs, lined with relics and arcane machinery that combine science and sorcery in equal measure. His laboratories house technologies banned everywhere else. His libraries hold grimoires older than civilization, and his armor is a fusion of wealth and intellect, one-of-one craftsmanship powered by mysticism. His empire is self-contained. If the world cut him off tomorrow, Latveria would still thrive under his control. No stock market could crash his fortune because his wealth is sovereign. He reigns with an iron gauntlet and a scientific mind that makes him both king and god of his own domain. Lex Luthor. As the founder and CEO of LexCorp, he transformed a small engineering firm into a multinational superpower with reach in defense, energy, robotics, and even pharmaceuticals. Every skyscraper with his name on it represents a piece of metropolis that bends to his will. His fortune rivals the GDP of small nations, and his political ambitions ensure that his wealth stays weaponized. When he funds research, it's strategy. His labs build satellites to monitor Superman, suits to rival alien power, and AI systems that feed him data on every major threat in the world. Publicly, he's the visionary billionaire who donates to hospitals and funds scholarships. Privately, he moves money like chess pieces, destabilizing markets, creating competitors he can later acquire, and sponsoring global events to remind the world that no one rises without his approval. His penthouse overlooks Metropolis like Olympus itself, a daily reminder to the people below that gods can be made in boardrooms. For him, wealth is control, and he wields it with surgical precision. Tony Stark. Stark Industries started as his father's weapons firm, but Tony rebuilt it into a tech empire spanning aerospace, AI, and clean energy. Every arc reactor, armor prototype, and Stark Tower innovation funnels back into a fortune that stretches across continents. His net worth easily crosses tens of billions, though money is the least interesting thing about him. His wealth manifests in physical marvels, suits that fly, satellites that cloak cities, and labs where the future is built daily. He reinvents wealth. His Malibu mansion was a statement of style, his Avengers Tower a declaration of vision. Even after turning away from arms manufacturing, the contracts, patents, and global partnerships never stopped. stopped. Every technological revolution of the modern Marvel world has Stark's fingerprints on it, and that innovation pays in trillions. Yet his relationship with wealth remains volatile. One invention can bankrupt him, the next can save the planet. For him, fortune is a resource to fuel creation, not preservation. His empire isn't made of gold. It's made of progress, running on genius, caffeine, and audacity. Batman. Bruce Wayne lives where power, inheritance, and obsession merge. The Wayne Enterprises portfolio spans everything from defense to healthcare to renewable energy. His family's generational wealth places him at the top of Gotham's elite, but his use of that money is unlike anyone else's. By day, he's the philanthropic face of corporate nobility, funding orphanages, universities, and infrastructure projects that keep Gotham's economy alive. By night, every cent fuels his war on crime. Batmobiles, satellites, armor, and safe houses are all financed through layers of shell companies and research divisions under Wayne Tech. His R&D budget alone could fund several national space programs. Gotham's skyline, its police gear, even its power grid carry Wayne's signature somewhere. He could have lived comfortably forever, but he chose to funnel billions into building a symbol, one that strikes fear into criminals and hope into the innocent. His wealth is both shield and sword, an endless resource that keeps his mission alive long after he's gone. For him, fortune is logistics. Every penny has a purpose, and every gadget is proof that money in the right hands can be a weapon for justice. Level 7, Infinite, T'Challa. His fortune exists on a scale that no spreadsheet could summarize. As King of Wakanda, he controls the world's only known supply of vibranium, one of the rarest and most valuable substances in existence. A single gram can sell for tens of thousands of dollars, and Wakanda's reserves are measured in the thousands of tons. That alone places him far beyond billionaire status, into the realm of unquantifiable wealth. His monarchy owns the mines, the technology, and the infrastructure that process it. Unlike most rulers, he doesn't depend on outside trade or global banks. Wakanda's economy is self-sustaining, powered by science that outpaces the rest of the world by centuries. His laboratories are filled with devices that make Stark tech look like prototypes, and his royal treasury is backed by resources that could buy entire nations. Yet, T'Challa treats wealth as stewardship. Every advancement, from the Black Panther suit to Wakanda's magnetic rail systems, is a product of reinvestment. The throne room doubles as a command center, with councils of scientists and warriors advising a king whose intellect matches his fortune. His wealth funds education, innovation, and the kind of progress that reshapes civilizations. On a financial scale, he's absolute rich. Aquaman. As the ruler of Atlantis, his authority covers 70% of the planet, an empire that dwarfs the resources of any surface nation. Beneath the ocean floor lie untapped veins of gold, rare metals, and lost technologies from ancient civilizations. The Atlantean treasury holds artifacts from ages before recorded history, crystals, weapons, and machinery that defy modern understanding. His royal palaces are sculpted from coral and powered by geothermal energy, while his armies guard territories that stretch across trenches and sunken cities. Atlantis trades in things no surface dweller could replicate: hydro-reactors, energy cores, and armaments that can sink fleets. Economically, he controls access to global shipping lanes, marine resources, and hidden reserves that could destabilize every surface economy if exposed. Yet he rules as a protector, not a profiteer. His wealth is tied to his responsibility to both land and sea. Where other monarchs collect, he conserves, maintaining the balance between empire and ecosystem. The oceans are his treasury, and their depth mirrors his power, immeasurable, ancient, and endless. Thor. As the prince and later king of Asgard, his inheritance includes treasures from across the 9 realms. The royal vault holds weapons forged from Uru metal, relics infused with cosmic energy, and artifacts older than Earth itself. The Asgardian economy doesn't function through currency, but through divine resource, enchanted materials, dimensional energy, and magical craftsmanship beyond comprehension. Mjolnir, his hammer, is itself a priceless artifact, created from the heart of a dying star. The Asgardian fleet travels through the Bifrost, powered by forces that no human technology could reproduce. Thor's lineage ensures eternal access to this power, a legacy of gods who build palaces in the stars. Even after Asgard's fall, the remnants of its wealth followed him. The knowledge of cosmic forging, the alliances of intergalactic empires, and treasures scattered across galaxies. His fortune exists in a form that transcends economics. It's the inheritance of divinity. His crown represents dominion over realms that defy calculation. In Asgardian terms, Thor infinite wealthy. And that's it. Now to you. If you could live in any hero's world, which fortune would you want and why? Comment down below, leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos like this one.